for being here. This is an exciting event, the first event of its kind here at Gavilan in our digital media program, and we're going to highlight for you some of the magical careers you can have as a successful employee in the digital media world.
You were supposed to give me hair on that shot. I'm sorry.
I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Pat Watson, who will introduce everyone else. I'd like to thank Sabrina Lawrence and Bob Beede and Pat Watson for putting this together. This is exciting, and welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Pat Watson. I'm an instructor at Cal State Monterey Bay, and we are in partnership with Gavilan and Hartnell Community Colleges to develop a pathway for students to go through the digital media program on the community college campuses, then go through our program and successfully enter that field. A few weeks back we had a marvelous presentation that you were all invited to. Some of you were there. And the purpose of that presentation was to clearly establish that if your dream is to make a living in creative digital media, that pathway is open to you. Okay? A lot of times in the smaller communities, there's kind of a consciousness of, well, we're not in a big urban center. We aren't next to the big high-profile campuses that supposedly are a direct pipeline into these careers. And so we started off with a couple of students, graduates of mine, that are very successful, and we could have gotten more, but we only had a certain amount of time. We had a marvelous speaker there, Kathleen Milnes, who did a presentation outlining the potential for careers in creative digital media. And the career pathway is tremendously encouraging. The entertainment media industry is the third largest employer in the state of California. And that's a lot of jobs, and many of the jobs are really well-paying jobs where a skilled practitioner can easily make in the 70s and 80s thousands of dollars a year. Okay, so it is there for you if you want. So anyway, let's see. Well, that's okay. All right, I won't complain about the hair. Okay. All right, moving right along. All right, so here's a promotional poster we did, and basically pay attention to the poster because if you're coming from Gavilan, here are the courses you need to take to get into our major. Now, the key thing is this. Our major was visionary in its inception. We opened in the mid-90s with the idea that the future of visual design is through the computer, through digital media. We were one of the first campuses to embrace the idea that designers should know the technology and that technicians should understand good design. Now, a lot of schools have tried to catch up with us, okay, and some have. But we still have a visionary program, and we have successful graduates in all the areas of creative digital media. One of the students who talked at our previous presentation, he's now an animator at Blue Sky Studios. And if you've seen Ice Age or the Rio movies, or if you saw Epic, he was one of the primary animators in those features. And then we have game designers, and got a whole bunch of them. I thought we only had one or two, but apparently I've got at least a dozen graduates that are now gainfully employed doing video games. Okay, so it does happen. All right. So, let's see. I do have, let's see, supposedly when I click on this, now my background is in digital art. And I got into it in all the backwards ways that you might expect, and it just ended up being a pathway. So my previous claim to fame was in publications like this. I was featured in these. And I've been in all of that and more, which is pretty cool. And here's a sample of some of the work that I did. This was early work I did, and then this kind of work was shown in a lot of those places and was inspired. If any of you know Renee Magritte, it was kind of like Renee Magritte hanging out in Nevada, which is where I was at the time. And so I moved on, and just, you know, the stuff gets shown here and there. And I do it for the same reason a lot of you do this kind of stuff. Up in the middle of the night, this is what I do. Now, right after this, currently I'm working on experimental animation with a woman who's involved in campaigning for the health of our oceans. So we're working on an abstract animation that incorporates an awareness of sea life and ecological issues with some of my more abstract, crazy stuff. And then, lastly, one of the things we do in our department is we do 3D visualizations. And what you're going to see next is a recently completed project that is a visualization of our new building. And when you transfer to our school, you will be in that building. All right, let's see, we're about ready to move on. If you come to First Night Monterey, you'll get to see the whole thing finished. So be sure and be there. And, yeah, all right. So here's a visualization of our new building. And this was completed with me and a handful of students. Now, Cal State Monterey Bay is the CSU campus that has been singled out for the most amount of state support and expansion for a number of reasons. So the CSU, a lot of the urban campuses can't expand, and so we are going to. And so we'll have, these are a number of smart classrooms, we'll have a number of these in the new building. And I think this will about wrap that up. Okay, so that's me and that's us. Well, thank you.
Yeah, welcome. This is Studio DM for Studio Digital Media, and LI 128. It's also known as, and it's where we create video and animations and pictures and images, in Photoshop and Illustrator, and then we have our new. It's pretty high tech from the beginning. Thanks to Sherrean, she's got some grants, or steered us towards some grants, and without her, this lab would not be possible. And it's maintained a state of the art, basically, for I don't know, it's about 10, maybe 9 or 10 years now. Okay, and we just got some computers. See the little look like smokestacks? Those are our new computers. They're the best thing that Apple makes, okay? And, those are brand new. We have no hard drives in here. If you know about hard drives, they make noise and crash all the time. None of these computers have hard drives. And they've been working really well. They're really fine-tuned for digital media applications. And we have quite a few applications. And anyway, we have a program that was actually got approved from the state about 10 years ago, and it's got, you can major you can do almost anything you want with a computer and some art and even music and sound and all that sort of thing. Before I tell you about the program, because I'll get too involved, I'll tell you a little bit where I came from. I'm a little bit different. In digital media, our degree, we have 3 options. We have a lot of certificates in little areas for doing like production work, and then we have 3 options. One option is called digital art and imaging. Second option is digital video and audio, which probably would include animation, and the third is interactive media. And anything that's interactive, like websites are interactive, games are interactive. That's all covered under the interactive media. You can get an AA degree in that. You can transfer to CSU and Beede. We have complete acceptance of our courses over there, just about. San Jose State, we have a lot of students at San Jose State. And, this is a great pathway to learn the basics and then go on to another degree. Some of our students are working right out of our degree, or a certificate, and so it's a great place to study. And we've got a website up there. It's our new what we have in the lab and what we can offer you. So thanks for coming.